How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Strange Dead Fellows. With me, as always, is Lindsay
Hello.
and Keith.
Hi, guys.
And how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Peachy. I got to sleep later than usual.
Yeah, I
Because-
took a nap.
Nice.
How about you, Bubba?
Just chilling, watching football today.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Even though our Cowboys won yesterday, but
Yeah, we're fine. I mean,
We're fine.
Whatever. We're under there.
But we're about to be more awesome today.
yes.
How?
How is because
Tell us how.
we have a very special guest today.
We do?
We do. We do.
Who?
Are y'all ready?
Tell us more.
Uh,
Tell us
let's see.
more.
Today we have James Oster with us today, also
James
known
Oster.
as Jimmy.
Oh.
Hey!
Yes, yeah.
Hey!
Hi guys!
That's so weird. We were just fucking talking about you.
Oh my god, it's so weird because I just had this feeling I should check my computer. It's so freaking weird. Oh my god,
We're
that's a
linked.
mind
Mind
meld.
meld.
We're linked forever now. You're welcome.
Mind meld.
Hey
We're
guys,
so
what's up,
happy
man?
to have you, dude.
This is awesome.
Yeah, so this is our little whatever you want to call it, adventure that we like to go on, and we're stoked to have you on, man. Talking to you before the show started, I've got a good feeling that we're gonna do very good conversing.
Yes, yes.
I don't think we're gonna have any problems.
No, I think we'll be good. I think we're ready for this.
I do have a little stage fright, but other than that, like once I get that first question, whew, we're good. Right now, I'm like a little turtle in a turtleneck.
My mind went to other places.
Well, that's what I'm talking
bad.
about. Fear shrink.
Yeah, that's
Fear
a turtleneck, eh?
Yeah.
That's suddenly,
Mhm.
yeah, my mind went somewhere.
Your boner?
I did too.
Yeah, no, anti-boner. It's the opposite of that one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's
Got
when it becomes a very sad anteater.
An innie?
Yeah, an umbilical cord.
He
Okay.
said that
Yeah.
in a something I just watched. I think it was in Practical Jokers. He said I have an innie now because he got a.
Really? Oh my god. Those guys are so great.
I
They're
love them.
So
I
great.
love them.
You'd
They're
have to
amazing.
plank to pee.
Yeah.
Like just
Do Superman over.
you sit down when you pee, bitch. I plank when I pee.
Blank.
They did that. Remember that Zac Efron movie? He actually does that. Like,
Yes.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't a good movie. It was the
Is
one
that
where
the Mike and Dave need wedding dates?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can't remember which one. I was gonna ask which one it was because
I thought
Yeah,
it
he
was a
it
fun
did a
happened.
movie.
few really, really dumb comedies that weren't great, but he seemed like he's kind of trying to make some more interesting choices now. So hoping to see him do some good stuff lately. He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I
Oh
like
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it is, yeah.
him.
He the Ted, was it the Ted Bundy one
Oh yeah, yeah.
recently?
Yeah.
I was sold.
Yeah,
I
he was
haven't
good.
seen that
And-
one yet though. I
and
want to. It looks
James
like
Hetfield was
Mildred.
also a sheriff
Amazing.
in that movie, by the way.
Oh my god.
Did I just out movie fucking fact you?
Oh my gosh, you did. To be honest, I didn't see all of it, so I haven't watched.
Oh,
Because
Papa Het.
yeah, you got it, dude. You got it. That's
Should I
right
write
up-
it on the Keith calendar?
I just
There
want to
you
That's
go.
remember.
out
it.
movied.
I want to remember it
Wow.
because I'm like a big movie guy, you know, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep up with him. I'm gonna keep up with him.
You're gonna do great.
Boom. We're gonna do all right. Well, hey
Oh,
man, that being said, like, don't want to get too deep into anything family related, but like growing up, what got you so interested in movies in general? Because I know there's people that enjoy movies, and then there's people that enjoy movies. You know, there's that.
live
And
for
you're one of
movies.
you're one of the big enjoy. So, do you kind of have any backstory to it?
For sure. I remember seeing Mike's shirt Halloween, and it was something that I was too young to see, and I just wanted to see it. The trailer kind of scared me, and I was like, well, maybe I can finally watch it. And I watched it way too young. I think I was 7 when I saw it, like really too
Oh,
young.
damn.
And I just wanted to watch it again and again and again. And I was like, how does a movie that's just a movie, just some these images on the screen make you feel so incredibly like scared or emotional or all this stuff? And it was, and after that I just started wanting to watch everything. I mean, even I was obsessed with classics. I was obsessed with watching, Dracula, Bride of Frankenstein. I loved I went through a phase, which is still probably a phase, of giant insect movies. Those were my
Oh.
favorite.
Like the 50s sci-fi, like
Oh,
praying mantis type stuff.
dude,
Uh-huh.
the Attack of the Crab Monsters is still one of my favorites. It was
Crab
just,
monsters.
yeah,
Oh, that's what they're
caught,
just.
and there was a TV movie made, I think, somewhat in the 70s that I caught late at night on cable, called the Curse of the Black Widow, with a giant black widow. That
Yes,
was
no,
cool.
I actually remember
yeah.
that one. It was right. You know how certain shots will have that, oh, color just must have come out. Like you just have
Really?
that really pale but over exaggerated look to it. It
Mhm.
Mhm.
it's like right around that time, wasn't it? That it
No, this was the 70s. It was a
Yeah,
Donna
like
Moo. But
okay,
yeah, I mean, color was introduced technically back in the 50s. I think
50s,
even
yeah.
maybe earlier than that, because you have Gone with the Wind. But
Oh,
like it had that very 70s look to it. Like it was
Yeah, that
very, yeah,
Technicolor.
yeah, it looked
Yeah.
amazing, and that Black Widow was fucking Oh wait, can we swear?
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
We
Fuck
yeah.
yeah.
I've
We're
Yeah,
sailors over here. That's
as
okay.
you
So,
know, I swear a lot.
I
So.
mean,
right.
I don't, but you
Cookie's
guys
a
go
good
ahead.
boy. He doesn't swear.
Never.
Sure.
But yeah, that's I mean, essentially you're in a kick of like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 flicks, the
For
ones that
sure,
they
and
watch. Yeah.
it was just, I fell in love with the genre, and I fell in love with watching. I've heard so many stories about a lot of people, and this is the same for me. I would go into the video store and I would look at all the cool box covers, and I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
Final Exam. Ooh, The Burning. Ooh, what's this? This is awesome. The Dorm that Drip Blood. Ooh, and I watched everything I could. And it's funny because I was a film fan, but I was a very particular film fan. I didn't really like blockbusters aside from like Jaws or Alien. I
Yeah.
liked the cheapy horror movies. I liked the slasher. I liked Giallo. I liked, but I also liked foreign. So like if it were a French film, like there's a really wonderful movie from, I don't remember when it came out, but it was one of the first movies I saw about sex, called Betty Blue, and it's an explicit film, but it treated the sexuality like a normal, beautiful thing. It's a sad movie. It's a heartbreaking movie. Don't watch it if you don't want to get depressed. It's fucking depressing.
Oh, that's where I
But
live.
yeah, but it's basically a love story about a guy that's in love with a woman that's basically a schizophrenic or something like that. She's got a lot of issues, and
Okay.
it's just heartbreaking. But it was, the sex was very out there, right there, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're not afraid to treat sexuality and relationships with without going
Yeah.
you
It's a
know
normal thing.
it's a
And
normal
to
thing.
me,
It's weird.
that's
Like,
such a weird concept for us here because I honestly believe out of when you look at developed, nations and what they censor and what they don't,
Mhm.
yeah.
here it's sex and love, and everywhere else it's violence that we lead
Yeah.
on for our
Yeah.
kids all the
And
time.
here it's blood and guts is fine, but oh my God, people who love each other and are having
Yeah.
sex. Mm-mm-mm.
Well, I
Like
remember
John Wick. John Wick would be on, hell, I grew up when you were talking about the movies that kind of I grew up in the 80s watching Nightmare on Elm Street movies on TBS. And
Yeah.
that was my first sex. No, didn't see a boob for
No.
years. But a burnt child killer who's coming back to kill people in their dreams, yeah, have fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Look, it's one of those things where, look, to an extent, I could see like parents being a little bit like, it's easier to explain a movie like Fast and the Furious, which is extremely violent, or even if you want to go R-rated like Die Hard, it's easy. This is just effects, blah blah blah. I can understand to an extent, but at the same time, it's there was a time when sex was literally in movies. It was just like Porky's or
Yeah.
something completely
Revenge
different.
of the Nerds.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
I've always respected foreign filmmakers because they I remember seeing a movie, gosh, I wish I could remember what it was about, what the title was, but it was literally just about two sisters. That's it. The relationship between two sisters. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. It's actually about people instead of just,
Yeah.
that it's not to say that American filmmakers don't do that. Richard Linklater does that better than anybody. He's my favorite filmmaker. I think he's genuinely one of the most profoundly warm and thoughtful filmmakers out there. And I think that I remember Dazed and Confused, Suburbia, Boyhood, all the Beyond trilogy. I love that he takes a movie about two people that meet and just kind of hang, and he makes a trilogy out of that.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
It is. Yeah.
It explores. Well, that's. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
That's all
Headphone
right.
went off. You guys didn't hear it, but I did because headphones. Sorry. No, just the character profile. Like it's almost like you're reading a character profile or a societal profile of someone, as opposed to storytelling. It's telling a story about the connection as opposed to the environment.
Yeah.
And it's not touch. And I think our attention spans
Relationships
are a big part of why we don't embrace that.
I think so too. And look, I didn't actually open myself up as a critic until I started actually becoming a critic. When I was hired at Arrow in the Head to review movies for horror DVDs and stuff, and then I moved almost immediately over to Joe Blow. With Joe Blow, I was given the opportunity to go, you know what, you should watch movies like Thor. You should watch movies like, and it expanded my horizon because I really wasn't willing to go. I'm like, it's not horror, it's not foreign, it's not indie. I don't care.
Right.
And now I feel like as a critic, I became more open. So now I can still get excited about, ooh, cool, Spider-Man. That's fun.
Yeah.
So
cool. Yeah.
That's fun. That's okay. It's okay to have a mindless blockbuster, and there's plenty I love.
Especially in these days, it's nice to have those escape films.
Yeah.
And it really is like the first time that I've had people talk about the concept of shows being comfort shows and comfort films, like for people that they go to, and it's something that's really helped people, and that's another amazing thing about cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, you brought up JoeBlow.com. How long have you been doing that, and what all do you do there?
Well, I started back in 2006, a long time ago.
It didn't feel like it's that long ago, though. That's what's crazy. I'm like, oh, it's a couple of years ago. Nope.
I know.
16 years ago.
My first review, I believe, was Saw 2.
Really?
I loved it.
Yeah, because Saw came out in 2003, didn't it?
Yeah, and I reviewed the video release of Saw 2. So, and so basically what I do there is I review movies. I do a lot of interviews. I think mostly what I do is interviews. Interview talent for, whenever a film comes out, they have a junket and they get the press out there and they try to, get people excited for their movies. And the thing about it that I kind of fell in love with is that I wanted to be an actor. That's why I came to LA. I came to be, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I'm a trained actor. But I
got
kind
the
of
paper.
I fell in love with the idea of of really talking to actors about movies. And I don't care how big they are. I don't care how small the project is. I
Right.
like seeing what they're why a movie exists for them. What I love that. I love that, especially when they're excited about it. You know,
Yes.
when you get people that are like really into it, but then again, it's also fun to talk to someone that's really not into a movie sometimes, like Sean William Scott, who's amazing. Like
Yeah.
he will tell you flat out, I hated the movie I worked on. It
Oh
sucked.
God.
But
Does
Yeah.
it really?
yeah,
It's refreshing because it's like they can't love everything that they've done. They've had, I mean, I would certainly think just like jobs anywhere, you have those jobs that make you cringe, but you did it because it's part of what
Yeah.
you got to get through life. Like,
well,
Well,
look,
I know Daisy Ridley did something similar, but she was with the big movie. The differences between working on a smaller production and something like Star Wars, she was so unhappy after the second movie came out and
yeah.
could not say a word about it. And then that's, all the money. So those are press junkets, I'm sure, that were not pleasant for anyone involved.
I mean, it's a lot of times they hide it. They're good at keeping it from the press. Like you,
It's like they can act.
yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
actors, so they can fake it. I mean, when I mentioned Sean William Scott because I remember interviewing him for Mr. It was him and Billy Bob Thornton for Mr. Woodcock, and
Mhm.
they're both awesome. I love them both. I love Sean. I love him. But I interviewed him again later, and it was just him, and he started asking me because he loves Joe Blow. At least he did back then. I don't know if he still does. I hope so. He started saying, "I love reading the bad reviews of my movies." He asked me if I'd written the review for Dukes of Hazzard. I'm like, no, but I did write the review for Mr. Woodcock, the one I interviewed you for. And he's like, dude, that movie sucked, right? He was like, oh my god, me and Billy Bob, we were like, what the fuck we gonna talk about with this movie? And he did it during an interview.
Yeah.
So you can I forgot what film it was I was interviewing him for. I think it was Step Brothers or something. No, not Step Brothers. Role Models.
Role models.
Yeah.
Role Models.
Yeah.
His honesty was so just entertaining, and he's such a nice guy that it was like, it was nice. But I think sometimes people forget, like, even a bad movie, even a movie that's so horrible that you'll never want to sit through again. There's a lot of work that went into it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As a critic, I try to think that way, and I try not to be too. I don't take a lot of joy in trashing a film. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy. There's some films I really hate, and
Yeah.
but to me, like, a lot of times you'll be like, there's, I haven't actually talked about this, but Funny Games, I as a film fan, I'm not a fan of. I find it gross and I find it uncomfortable, and I do not like the fact that the director was basically saying Americans don't know what real violence is, so I'm going to show them.
Mhm.
But there's a big but here. It was a well-made movie. I gave the movie a good review. There was enough there that I felt, both with the original and the remake, there was enough there that I had to let go of my own bias. And because I'm like,
Yeah.
trust me, dude, I know what real violence is, and I don't enjoy watching
Right.
people in real life get murdered. It's not fun. But I get where he was coming from, and there we hit it earlier. It's like, we are like, cool, violence, cool. You want our kids to, well, let's go. I'll go see like Underworld. Let's go see that. It's
Yeah.
fine, but it's you have to. It's hard as a critic. I think you kind of try to. We all have our biases. When you go into a movie,
Mhm.
you can't not watch a trailer and have an idea. Well, that looks good, or that doesn't look good. You're always going to have that. You have to try and go in, and you have to try and look past that. And I've reviewed movie. I don't. Oh gosh, I shouldn't say this in public. I'm not an anime fan. I don't like anime.
I
Sorry.
mean,
Yeah, thank you.
we
But
all have our
Same.
whatever.
I've had
just
to review anime before, and I let go of that, and I say, well, you know what? I respect it. I respect the work that goes into it, and I admire the fans are great. Anime fans
Mhm.
are awesome. I mean, like, so I was when I had to review something like that, I take the time to do a little research, and I go, okay,
Right.
and then I ended up I actually got a lot of praise for one of my reviews because I didn't rave about it. I gave it like a 6 out of 10, but I was like, you know what? It's got stuff in there and that people were saying what a fair review. So I'm like, hey, I did my. That's
You
my.
were being real about it.
Yeah, that's how you know.
And people
And
respect that.
Yeah.
You try
speaking
to.
of like the bias that you go into movies with, I wouldn't have understood what you meant by that had I not had. There was one experience I had that I still trigger back to why I didn't like the movie the first time I saw it.
Which one?
My mind just Crimson Peak.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I went into Crimson Peak thinking this is a Del Toro horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I saw it, I was like, what is this? And then
Yeah.
I watched it again and was like, had they told us it like led with it being more of a gothic romance than a horror movie, this is
Right.
a fucking great movie.
Should have
Yeah.
watched
But that
my
bias-
interview with him. You should have watched my interview before you saw it, because
Really?
he was very Guillermo is one of the most genuine, beautiful human beings I've ever met. He's one that understands that film has changed, and he also understands how we handle publicity, and he treats online people with the utmost respect. I've had conversations with him about everything from the Suspiria remake to his own work. To he is
I
a
forgot Suspiria
genuine.
remake.
Oh God, so beautiful.
Yeah, forgot about it.
He's a really genuinely talented man, and I what I respect about his films is he doesn't exactly make what you think. That one especially was a harder film to sell because it's a romantic movie. It's a gothic romance, and it has ghostly horror elements, but that's not the movie. It's not a horror film, and I think
exactly.
I think the same thing is happening with Nightmare Alley. People don't know what it is, and it's like it's. I tend to respect filmmakers. It's hard to narrow down what exactly the film they're making, because that to me says they're making something truly unique. You know, like Showgirls.
Like what, girls?
We're waiting for
I
that.
knew it was gonna come up at some
Showgirls
point.
is one of the greatest movies ever made.
I still didn't hear what the movie was. What is it?
Showgirls.
Oh, Jesse
Showgirls.
Spano.
I have a weird obsession with that movie. I don't know.
He
what
does.
It is.
It's the best thing ever. I love
It's
your
because it's
obsession
such
with
a
that movie.
it's the obsession when I saw it, aside from the obvious, but is how horribly rotten and turned up to 12 the raunchy acting is. I think it's like you're getting big budget, but it's like a Cinemax original at 2 a.m. as far as the acting goes, and I think it's done that way intentionally.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a documentary. You don't know me, you don't know me, and it's they one of the critics, I believe, called it a masterpiece of shit.
Yeah,
I tend to, because it
like Divine, like the Pink Flamingos, like it had that almost that feel to it.
It's weirdly, it's a great movie because it's so bad. There's something about that's kind of
Starship Troopers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same type of thing.
Yeah,
dude, it's not that much different from Starship Troopers, and I think that I think that's a movie that people are now kind of going, oh, I kind of get what they were trying to do with it. I also get why people would hate it, 100%.
Yeah,
it's not something. It's not a great, it's not great performances. It's not. It's like, and Kyle MacLachlan's so slimy in it. You're just like, oh my god, come on, man.
He is. He turned into like drunk Crispin Glover for the whole movie.
I know.
It was bad.
But it's so entertaining. I don't know. I had to bring this up for you guys, Mike and Lindsay. I talk about this show ad nauseum on
yes,
very much to my partner Ryan Coltrera's delight. He loves when I talk about it.
Have you guys actually set a date for him watching it for the first time?
No, I have not. We will do that soon. We are going.
I think you should stream it too. When he brought that up, I was thinking that exact same thing. I'm like, we want to see,
like the whole reaction.
I think he's gonna like it more than he thinks he will.
Yeah.
I think
really
he will
do.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys should have him on the show.
I was thinking about that too. Like, I even thought about like you guys at the same time, but it's like there's already 4 of us. But like, yeah.
He
I
would
mean, we
do.
can do that in the future too.
Yeah, he has so many great ideas and great knowledge. He knows as much about film as I do. He's an incredible, and he's also a
Yeah.
really good interviewer. I mean, I really enjoy working with him on Sound Scary because it's like
Yeah.
he gets it and he understands we also have very similar tastes in film.
I was gonna say you guys work great together.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have the partners I have had with Cosm and these wonderful people and working with Elizabeth. I mean, it's like it's really I feel very blessed to have that kind of chance to get stoned and talk about movies.
Right?
Or
It's
do a horror
amazing.
show where I can get Kevin Smith to come on and talk about his horror movies. I mean, it's really amazing, and
It is.
yeah.
He still has one to go, doesn't he?
Yes, and I know he mentioned on when we did the Sound Scary, he's still kind of wanting to do that tree that Jaws thing that with the
Yeah.
So I don't think he's done with horror. Although
Because he did what? Tusk was his first big one.
Actually, Red State, Tusk, and then Yoga Hosers.
Yoga Hosers was great. I love that one. That was such.
It's ridiculous, but it's again, it's one of he makes these movies. He's like, I want to make that movie where you're like, remember that movie with the Nazi bratwurst? Yeah,
Mhm.
what the fuck was that? I like that. I love
Yes.
Kevin. I love that man. I think he's a really genuinely great guy. I think he's got I love what he does, and I even this bad stuff. Like I watched Jersey Girl, like when we were prepping to interview him. I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't that bad. It's still got some heart. It's not perfect. It's not great, but it's. I think I think he's got a very unique and very kind of charmingly sweet look at how he approaches anything he does. I love watching his movies.
You could see that in Mallrats, I think, more than anything.
Oh, for sure.
Just like it was so relatable, and there really wasn't so much emotion in that movie from start to finish. Was all the different,
Look at Chasing Amy, for God's sake!
Oh,
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! What a marvelous!
I didn't want to go with the obvious, but
there you go.
throw it
But
out there.
Mallrats is good, and Mallrats more. It's funny how that movie became a cult classic. It didn't do anything in theaters. No one gave a shit.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
And the Stan Lee cameo didn't mean a fucking thing back then either.
No,
which is another funny thing.
Yeah.
Like
And
there's so much in that whole conversation that
he revamped my childhood cartoon of He-Man, and I absolutely loved it. Like he continued the story from when it ended in the 80s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
continued onto it, and it just I'm like,
oh, wow. So he did that kind of like the X-Men 97 that's going to happen is going to do with
kind of
following up. Like there's a big gap, and it's a follow up from the story, not current day.
Mike, you should tweet him about that. Because I think he likes to hear that people love that what he did. Because I think he got a lot of flack for that because hey, fandom. But he's I know a lot of people really loved it, and I'm not really a He-Man guy, so I haven't tuned in.
It was great. It was great.
I want to say if it's him, I would probably watch it.
Right.
I've been so hesitant to see it just because it's like it's He-Man, like and I still love the movie, the Dolph Lundgren.
You really?
Yeah, I still enjoy it to this day, and I don't know if it's because it's one of those like does the nostalgia play a factor in me still loving it, but I still do.
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think that is such a bad thing. Like I look at movies that I grew up on that are not good movies. I mean, I love a lot of these slasher movies I was talking about. They're not good movies. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen Don't Go in the Basement. It's not a good movie, but it's kind of weird and kind of fucked up and kind of and I'm known for loving the movie Tentacles, which is really ridiculously bad. I mean, literally, an octopus reaches up and pulls a baby off the shore.
Sure.
Like, really, really. But I love that movie. So, and I saw it as a kid, and it terrified me because I'm like, oh shit, that octopus, that's gonna get you, even if you're walking down the street, it's gonna reach up to you. But
did you grow up with me when you said that?
I
Because it
did.
sounds
I
like
did.
God.
I see you're Cookie.
you went full Arkansas because you're like, God damn, killer octopus.
Well,
And then there.
I have a lot of my family comes from the South, so like
Okay.
my mom was born in Tennessee, so I can pull that out if I need.
He was worried about you first.
Boy, I was like, what happened? Am I back home? What's going on?
You sure are, buddy. I can do the whole thing like this if you want.
Oh, mine comes out sometimes. It will, if I get excited and start I'll be like boop 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 boop. It kicks on for a second, and then when you did it, it triggered because I'm so used to hearing it myself. I was like, I fucking did it.
I don't know why. Like I grew up I was born in Arizona, so I don't know why it kind of comes out. But I do have, every so often when my son was born, I had a relative call, and it was like they may have been. I think they're from South Carolina. I forgot where they're from, and it was like, Jimmy, so happy for you. Happy back there. And I love it. I love that. I'm obsessed with like movies about the South, and I love these like there's a movie from the 70s I discovered that I'm actually using for just because I kind of love it, called Hard Country with Kim Basinger. I had a huge crush on Kim Basinger for a while. And it's her and Jan Michael Vincent before she became anything. And it's just kind of a sweet little movie. Like, and I like movies. I love day in the life of movie like that, especially for some reason in the South. I think I don't know, maybe it reminds me of growing up and visiting my relatives and all that stuff, but I kind of love that. So
yeah,
there's an endearing ignorance is the way I like to put it. I mean, it's not implying that everyone's ignorant, but there's just like hearing that accent automatically, there's a bias with that where it's like, well, there's an idiot. So you have that.
It's such an unfair bias too, because you keep it's that's how people talk. That's not everyone that talks like that. I mean,
no, not everyone, no, but I mean,
we get some bias with our accents that we don't know what we're talking about.
Hashtag.
All right.
What part of Arizona were you born in?
Phoenix. I spent about 2 years there, so I don't remember anything.
The first 2 years.
Me too. I was born in Tucson. And
really?
At 2 years old, we moved to Fullerton, and then I was raised in Southern California.
Oh shit! Well, we went to Colorado. We did the Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that, Mike. That's cool.
Yeah. We're Arizonas.
That's why we're so much alike, man.
Oh yeah, it's got to be that.
I was born 3 hours south of where I live, so.
Oh, so do you travel much at all, Cookie?
Oh my gosh.
No. A lot of it is just because I haven't had any reason to.
Fair enough.
For the most part. But yeah, no, I lived part-time in Studio City for about 4 months.
Are you serious? Dude, that's 5 minutes away from me.
Yeah, I was off Barham. Like if you go over 101 onto Barham,
I know
away
exactly.
from, there was those furnished apartments, Oakwood, I think is what they're called.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit, you live there?
In 2002.
Oh my god! Wow. I was here. I've been here most of my life. I love.
So that's my big experience out that way was the time I spent out there, and most of it was that area because you just go straight down Barham, turn into Olive, and you Sunset Hollywood right there. So.
How long were you here?
Not long, like 4 months, 5 months.
Okay, Mike, how long were you out here?
I grew up Fullerton, Riverside, and then Moreno Valley.
Oh shit!
All the way until I was 19, and then I joined the Army. Did that for 20 years, and then a couple points in my career, I ended up going to Fort Irwin, California for like 4 years. So we would visit our family. I was married at the time, so we'd go down south and to Moreno Valley and Hemet, go visit family. And then another point in my career, I became a recruiter. So I was a recruiter in Ontario. And so we'd have to drive to LA like every other day. So I was in charge of Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga. I always love that name.
Yeah.
Chino Hills.
I can't not hear Michael Rappaport saying Rancho Cucamonga Cracker Killers. Anytime I hear the name, or sorry, that's the first time I ever heard the name of that area was when he said that. So I was like,
every podcast should mention Michael Rappaport at least once. How great is that guy? How
I didn't know you were out there though, Mike.
Yeah, that's cool, Mike. That's right. Lindsay, why haven't you lived in California? Come on.
I was gonna say I was born 5 minutes from here.
Really?
Yeah.
Got you.
At the park.
Small town hospital just in the town next to us. We moved here because both my parents are from Illinois, Rockford and Chicago. And my dad wanted to start his own private practice. So they were looking for a small town and schools and that stuff. And this is where I end up. So, yep.
Oh my God.
I lived in Milwaukee for a while. And then after that, I came back.
Wow.
We want like
now
for years.
There we go. You're okay.
For like years, we've been talking about moving to Arizona because chronic pain stuff, and that's supposed to be great there. But the last few years, with how insane the weather's been, we're like, it's like, where would you move now? Because it's kind of crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we might as well just maybe stay here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the closer to the middle that you and I are going to be safe when the ocean levels,
it's like
that's where my mind is.
What's happening anywhere anymore?
Yeah.
Although it would be kind of cool if it were like Waterworld and like, we had our little islands everywhere.
Wasn't there a tramp stamp map in that movie? It was on our
arm,
wasn't it?
Probably, yes. I tried to forget.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's been forever since I've seen that.
3-hour-long movie.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, was it that long? Because it felt longer.
It was longer than Lord of the Rings. I remember that.
Oh my God.
Yet Lord of the Rings was this like beautiful, like, oh cool, like you can watch it all the time. Waterworld, no.
So I remember when I found out who was doing Lord of the Rings, I was like, the Meet the Feebles guy is doing this.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that movie, by the way?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Peter Jackson is a genius. Look, Peter Jackson is one of those guys that I had seen Heavenly Creatures before Lord of the Rings, and I'd seen what's the other one? The one I'm blanking, the zombie one, Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
Dead Alive, yeah. So I was like, if anybody could pull it off, maybe him. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh shit, he's pulled this shit off.
Yeah, and he did it.
He did it. To be honest, I know the Hobbit series got a lot of hate.
I like those more.
Yeah, they're actually really good. I still prefer Lord of the Rings, but I'm like, wow, what amazing films, what amazing stories, and what I love the fact that he's working on documentaries now, like doing this the Beatles.
That's very cool. Yeah,
I still haven't watched that.
I've watched half of it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
I haven't finished it yet, but it's a good documentary.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact like someone like him is doing documentaries. I think it's exciting to see. Like, and Edgar Wright had the Sparks Brothers this past year, which is a beautiful, really wild and fun documentary about a wild and fun band that you're like, that you're one of those. The Sparks Brothers are like one of those. I've heard of them, but I don't know why. And then you're like, oh yeah, that song. Oh yeah.
That was a one-hit wonder situation, or
no? They've never been. I mean, they've had hits throughout the career, but they've like released like hundreds of songs or something. I forgot how many. It's ridiculous. Album after album after album after album. They don't stop making records. They just make records they want to make. They don't give a fuck.
Ah, yes. Yep.
And it's but they have a
That's
few
cool.
that you're like, oh, I've heard that song. I've heard that song on the radio. I've heard that song in the movie. And that is a really good documentary if you haven't seen it. I think it's just called Sparks Brothers or Sparks or something like that. I highly recommend it because if you'll be like, oh shit, I know that song, or I remember
Yeah.
that song. But I also like the fact that they just love making music, and that's their.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I like bands that do that, where it's not like they're not on a schedule for everyone out there. They're just doing what they love and just keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a huge music guy. I
Yeah.
wish I could play. I'm not that cool, but
I think,
wish I could play.
Beck's probably the closest person to that in mainstream. I think
For sure.
mainstream that we have, because he's put out what, like 30 damn albums, and people know about 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple others, but like I mean, I'm a huge fan of Brenda Carlisle, so and
of course,
she doesn't. I think she's one of the few artists I think that literally every album is great, every single one. And I'm in love with music, and I love like I used to not be a musical fan. I had a couple that I liked, but throughout the years, I've actually kind of developed a love for. I mean, my favorite movie of the year of last year is Cyrano by far.
Really?
Yes, and
I don't know what that is.
it's epically romantic, like unapologetically romantic. Like they're gonna rip out your heartstrings, but it doesn't feel.
Oh, I'm such a huge sap. I'm just like, I'd probably love it then.
Oh, you will.
And it's Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage is I voted for him to. I think he deserves Best Actor this year. It's a wonderful performance.
I've always liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, Haley Bennett is luminous. Just gorgeous and beautiful in this role. It's just one of the most profoundly sweet and heartfelt movies. And the band.
She's Roxanne, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really. I highly recommend it. I think it. I know it's released the end of the month theatrically, and it's a damn near perfect movie. I'm in love with this movie. And
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. We've all seen the movie before. It was called Roxanne, and it was with Steve Martin.
Well, see, here's the thing. I love.
Wasn't that a pun on that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because he had the nose and.
No, it's literally, it was a comedic version of Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah.
So with this movie, I really had no desire. It was coming up the end of the year, and I had all the screeners I had to do for the Hollywood Critics Association, which I'm a part of. We had to do our voting, and so they had a screening for Cyrano. I'm like, well, I guess I should see that. I literally had never watched a trailer. But I was like, why are the Nationals on this? Why I don't get the band The National. And I was like, what the hell? Why are they part of the junket? It doesn't make sense because I didn't watch anything. I knew nothing.
Right.
So I literally went in blind, and I'm watching, and I'm like, what was she singing? Oh my God. And the songs were like, oh my God, it's them. It's their music. And I was like, I'm in love. And I've watched it 5 times.
That's the best in terms of like something happening that you're not expecting, because it does suck when that happens, when you have something in mind from a trailer and then you go in there and it's completely different, because it throws you off, because you go in ready for this and then it doesn't happen, and then you have to see it again, because then you can actually appreciate it.
Well, it's like
when you go in and it's amazing.
That's like Keith with going into Crimson Peak. It's like you expect something, and then you get something completely different. And sometimes you have to. I had that experience with Thin Red Line. I went to see it. I like Terrence Malick a lot, but I wasn't prepared for a war film that was basically a piece of poetry. Cinematic poetry is what I call it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I hate this. I hate it. Oh my God, this is dumb. Oh my God, this is boring. I did not connect to it. But I left it. I literally walked out. I rarely do that, but it was something I'm not in the mood. I'm not feeling this. It's a waste of time.
Right.
As I was driving home, I'm like, why is it still sticking with me? Why am I? And I was like, wait, that wasn't a movie. That was something different. And I decided to go see it again. Fell in love with it. I actually own it. You know,
Isn't
it
that interesting how it's like first impressions with music or films? And I don't know. I found it funny over the years how like different bands that like I heard in college and I hated them. And 10 years later, I checked them out and I'm like, what the hell was wrong with me back then?
wait,
Like, this is
who are some
amazing.
examples of that? I'm curious.
For one example, for me was Bad Religion. In college,
Really?
I didn't feel it. Like his voice annoyed me. I don't know why. But then like I heard them again and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, they're
Like it's so
brilliant.
See,
weird.
his
how that
his
happens.
voice is what pulled me in, oddly enough, because it was like
Right,
one
and
I hadn't heard as
And I
often.
was like, why did I have an issue with his voice back then? It's just goofy.
Yeah, no, ironically, that was the last concert I saw last year. Bad
Really?
Was it really?
I saw them like 5 years ago, I think. It was amazing.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to. It was them and
They're
Alkaline
great.
Trio. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alkaline Trio.
Oh, yes.
oh, so good, so good. I love any band that has lyrics like "shaking like a dog shit and razor blades." I mean, that's how can you not love that? How can you not fucking love that? Like it,
Regardless of
Shit
genre.
like that. I was like, oh, if you want some crazy lyrics, the Queers are pretty
ooh, I like that shirt too.
Yeah.
good with their shit. Oh, here, I'll show you.
Oh, we lost
I-
Lindsay
I
again.
freaking did I freeze?
Yeah,
I
you.
see her.
Can you
Now you're there.
I think
Now you're there.
okay.
Crap. I'm like, I don't know what's going on today. It's not that windy. We don't have a storm. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, they have this whole
Annabelle.
and then
Oh,
there's fuck you. One of your
Oh,
favorite words. But
I
then
love that word.
also how they have Felix the cat as their little mascot kind of guy. I don't know how. Can you see?
Oh yeah. Oh,
It's-
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see it. That's
Yeah, they're
that's
great.
awesome.
I
love
only
Punk
know
rock.
about half of these guys because one of my like closest friends, the one from Fargo, Linz, I've told you about him.
Oh yes,
He,
yeah.
he was huge, like into. He made fun of me for being more mainstream because he was like all of that stuff. No Effects, you know, the whole punk scene. Like he was into
Right.
it. So all these people you guys are talking about, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I know of them and know some of the stuff, but like Bad Religion, that's the exact opposite thing. Like with the Boss Tones for me. Like I can't handle that dude's voice. You know what I'm saying? He's got that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
goofy.
yeah. It's
Well, I
weird
didn't
how
know
it'll
that
pull
until
and
I was 18.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
wow.
most of my friends listen to Top 40, and that's what we had on in the car.
Mm.
So, oh no, I know. A friend of mine was teaching me how to skateboard, and he had music playing in his car, and I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "If you don't know, you don't deserve to know." And I was just like, he's giving me shit. I'm like, "Shut up! Just tell me who it is." And he said it was the Suicide Machines. And I was like,
wow.
"I dig this." I'm like, "I like it," and so that's what started it for me.
Wow. Well, see,
Yeah.
now that I'm older, I'm all Americana and like, you know, like I'm really loving like a lot of the like I don't know if you've ever heard Tyler Childers.
yeah.
Fucking amazing. What an amazing voice and just like this really deep emotional and Brandy Carlo.
Oh, and the eyebrows with it.
No, Chris Stapleton got me that way, oddly enough.
Oh, he's great.
Like he's the one that pulled me into kind of like okay, this isn't bro country bullshit. Like he's a singer-songwriter that has a genre he kind of falls under.
Right, with an edge to it. I like him too.
The other one, Sturgeon Simpson. Sturgill Simpson. Amazing. I like that because you like you said that there's that kind of like with top 40 country is the worst. like
Mhm.
really the word when you're like, oh, I got my beer in my truck here.
Pretty little thing with the sweet tea.
Exactly. It's like okay, this is I mean and not to disparage all of it because I you know you can't not like Garth Brooks to an extent. He's kind of great.
Right, but
You know.
that's a
It's
different.
fun.
That's
I
also a
think,
different
yeah, it's
level.
different. It's
Mhm.
different.
Yeah, but some of these, when you look at the album cover, and you look like, okay, who paid for the guitar? Who picked your outfit? You're not country. You're one of my favorites is oh gosh, why am I'm blanking on his name? I've seen him play a few times. Like I love Steve Earle, who is
Yeah.
one of my favorite guys, and one of the nicest guys in the world. And
Mhm.
oh Jesus, Shooter Jennings is like amazing, like a great producer, a great writer, and a really great songwriter, really great performer. I know I fall in love with kind of the Americana, but I still every so often go back to punk rock because that's kind of that was my teenage years, you know. I love
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what's kind of funny. Like, I was just about to say, as we've gotten older, and people give me crap for that, but uh, it's been interesting the different punk bands that because they started a whole and I spacing on the name, they started a whole tour of it where all these different punk bands or singers from bands and stuff started like an Americana thing, like
Mhm.
Brian Fallon from Gaslight Anthem,
Yes, one of my
and
favorite bands.
Dustin Kensrue from Thrice, or Tim
Tim McGraw. Just kidding.
Tim McIlrath. Yeah, I was like, I'm spacing on his name, from Rise Against.
Yeah.
They have this whole Americana vibe thing that they do, and it's really pretty rad.
That's amazing. I have not heard that, and I know Brian
Really?
Fallon. I've heard some of his more like his solo stuff is
Yeah.
very It's like it's you guys would you would love talking to Justin Butts because he that's his jam. Like he's like
Uh-huh.
he loves his favorite band. Oh gosh,
I know
A
he
Day to
loves A Day to
Remember.
Remember because we've talked
Yeah,
about
like
them
he
before.
loves
I love
he
them
loves
too.
so and then you know Ryan Coltrera's huge on gosh he likes the I can't remember them at all. Flogging Molly. No, not Flogging Molly. The other Irish punk band. What's the
The Dropkick Murphys?
That's the ones. Yeah, he's a huge dropkick. I love music. Like
Yeah.
I love everything from like I've gotten to a point where if I like it, I don't give a fuck what kind of
Right.
genre it is.
That's how I feel now too. You get to an age where it's just like, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
Dude, I love Rihanna. Love Rihanna.
Yeah.
I love her too.
She's so I'll tell
Group
you.
high
a story.
five.
Group
Yeah.
high five. So I was.
Riri.
I did a press junket. It was like they only did press conferences. It was for Home, that movie she did. And
Yeah.
me and my buddy
Mhm.
Joel, we were both Rihanna fans, and she was going to be there. And we were like, oh my God. So we're like, who's going to get to her? Who's going to get to her? Because they wouldn't even let us ask questions. We had to turn our questions into the moderator because they
Oh,
were
wow.
very protective of
Oh.
the talent and blah, blah, blah. So me and Joel walk in and I'm like, I'm going to this side. He's like, well, I'm going to go here. So she's got to go out one of those ways. So one of us is
One
going
of
to
us will get her.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm sitting there, we're watching, the thing ends, and she gets up, starts going my way. And this, I forgot, somebody was like, oh, can I get a picture with you? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, good God, I'm not doing that. And
Yeah.
so I was just walking by, I'm like, hey, I just said, hey, Rihanna. And she's like, hi. And I'm like, you know, I got to thank you for your music. My son loves you. I love what you do. And she's like, that's so sweet. She shook my hand, and my friend's like, no. She was lovely though. I was like, I really like her a lot.
Yeah.
Like
It's like you just want to thank people for being them because
Yeah.
what they do.
Yeah. And I know.
See, I've got that same secret fascination with
Individuality.
Halsey that you do with Rihanna.
Oh, she's great.
Like she's
Right.
fucking amazing to me.
Mhm.
And actually, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross just did her new album with her too. So
I was supposed to check that album out. Do you recommend
it's
it?
really good. Yeah, absolutely.
They played a song of her. There's a station out in LA called 88.5.
Mhm.
It's all hand picked. It's no bullshit. It's not like let's get the algorithms. It's like the DJs actually picked this up. They played the new Halsey, and I was like,
Nice.
this is good.
Yeah, it's a very good album.
Okay, I'm
Very
See,
good
that's
down.
what
album.
made
Worth
me stop
listening to.
listening to radio. I haven't listened to radio since high school.
It's a shame
Yeah.
because look, 88.5 will go from
Legitimately.
playing Kate Bush to Johnny Cash to fucking
Oh.
Patsy Cline.
Yeah, it's a
Then
big
they'll
mix.
play something like Weezer. Then they'll play something like Nine Inch Nails. It's just it's like there's a human element to that.
You've
Which-
got
Yeah,
whoever's
I was like,
hosting
that
the
makes
show
my
is
heart
putting a
happy.
playlist together for you.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate Bush is probably my all-time favorite artist. I think she's
Mhm.
brilliant, and I don't think there's anyone quite like her. And the first time I discovered the station, I was like, "Oh my god, they're playing Kate Bush." I'm like,
You're
"That's
like,
amazing."
sold.
Sold, yeah. So I love music, and I even when I like work or write, especially when I'm writing a script, for the rare times I do like look into that kind of thing. I've written a couple. I
Mhm.
always have music. I always have music. It's something that kind of I like to be around. I like to have music. Honestly,
Right.
I probably listen to music more than I do watch movies. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
will
it's
say though,
funny.
Jimmy, growing up, I could not stand movie musicals. I really couldn't.
I
I
don't
don't
blame
know
you.
why.
Still
I was
there.
turned off by them. I just couldn't. You know, even when like Les Mis came out, and I'm like, I really should see it. I'm not
It's
gonna
a
see it.
beautiful movie though. And
I ended
afterwards,
up
I
watching
still
it, but
haven't
I
seen it
watched
yet.
it
I mean
after I had
to.
watched Anna and the Apocalypse because of your recommendation, and I
That was great.
absolutely loved it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start watching these other musicals, and I started watching them again. I'm like, these are actually fantastic.
Anna
Oh
and
my
the
God.
Apocalypse
Yes, there's so
is
many
perfect.
amazing.
It's a
It
perfect movie, and it's John McPhail did such an amazing job, and it's one of
yeah,
those that you
did.
don't need to be a musical fan to like it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can watch.
Absolutely.
You can like Anna and the Apocalypse. You will love it. It's amazing.
That could be the baby step for Cookie. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
I
because
can't.
Cookie.
I can't do them. It's not
Imagine
because I don't. I love music. I love movies. It's just one of those things where it's for some reason it's so unrealistic compared to anything crazy as shit that could be happening on the show to me. Like I'm taken out of it. I'm there for the
Tell
story.
you what,
Huh.
you gotta give it a chance because think Shaun of the Dead with music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think Shaun of the Dead. Think that kind of humor and that
But do
kind
you
of
know where you
gore.
lost me
Music.
with music? Yeah, that's like I the only musical I gave. What's that one? Hamilton. I gave that. Couldn't
Yeah.
get 15 minutes.
Oh, see,
Like,
I haven't seen that one yet either, but
I
like
haven't-
ones
Wicked is
that-
the only one I would go to if I had the chance, just because of the story. You know, I
think
could
you guys got to
suffer.
get him to see Anna and the Apocalypse. We need
Yeah,
to work
we
on
do.
this.
absolutely.
I haven't even watched Sweeney Todd.
If Ryan can watch Showgirls for you, I think Keith can watch Anna and the Apocalypse for all of us.
I think you will like it much more than you expect.
I'll give it a
even
shot.
Worst case
I liked it
scenario,
more than I thought I would.
yeah, it's you'll love the zombie stuff. It's a really clever, beautiful film, and a good friend of
It's
mine's in it.
sweet
He's
and
awesome.
funny.
Chris Laveau, shout out, yay! The cast is amazing. Sarah Swire is amazing. It's just Ella Hunt is perfect. It's one of those movies that is such a gem that people are so surprised by because you're like, well, yeah, it's a Christmas zombie holiday musical coming of age drama comedy,
Mhm.
and you're like, wait, what? But it's
So
so
it's all the genres.
all of it, but it's so
It seems so
right.
out there, but it works.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
I'll
works.
give it
really
a go.
well.
I'll watch it by the end of this coming week, and I'll report back.
Nice.
I'll give it a shot.
I have a question that I would like to ask.
Go for it.
I don't know how interesting this would be to people, but I know that from your posts and stuff, I've seen that you've been presented films that you are to review in fun ways, like Halloween Kills. It seemed like there was a Jason or a Michael Myers that brought you the film
Oh, yeah, that's a
to review.
that was a fun
What?
surprise. So every so often the studios will do something kind of clever to promote their film.
More gimmicky and fun,
Yeah,
yeah.
gimmicky and fun. So I get this email. They said, we have a special thing from Peacock that we want to do. We want to send you a little gift pack, a little swag bag, but we want to make sure you're home. And I was like, well, I'm home. And I was like, it's a week before Halloween. I knew what was going on. And I was like telling everyone, all my neighbors, I'm like, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
Be ready.
They were like, we're 10 minutes away on the day. It was like the countdown.
Oh my gosh, we're 10 minutes away. Wow.
I love Halloween very, very, very much.
Yes.
So I'm geeking out, and I love the last 2 Halloweens. I don't fucking, if you hated Halloween Kills, fine. I didn't. I fucking loved it.
No,
we're all there.
Yeah, we're all there.
So I go to open the door, and Michael is standing there, and it was so realistic and so terrifying and amazing, and he wouldn't speak. He just followed me around, and it was, I mean,
the silence. Yes.
I mean, I think people I will say, like, because I always, every so often we get, oh, well, that's why you gave it a good review, because they gave you stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to give a good review to a movie for getting it for a t-shirt.
No.
That's not going to happen. That
you can't.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. Look, I got this for, you want to show and tell. So I showed this last night on Something Stony. MacGruber.
Oh, hell yeah.
They gave me the goddamn jacket. They gave me a rabbit's foot. Lucky rabbit's foot. This is well made, guys. I was
going to say, that's a solid case.
And then, on top of that, so I've got that crazy vest, that brown vest. It's gorgeous. It's really nice. And a new set of Ray-Bans. So check this out.
Nice. Yeah. You've got the MacGruber aviators.
I'm MacGruber. So I love those movies. I just got to interview the cast of that, which was just, I love Kristen Wiig so much.
Oh my god, she's amazing.
I have a huge crush on her too. To add to it,
she steals the scene in everything she's in.
I kind of told her this. I honestly told her this. I think she's literally one of the best actors working. Period. Yeah. Not just comedy. Not just
her range. Is insane.
Yeah.
What's the one? Tears. Oh, what about the dramatic where she's in the casino?
Oh shit! Yeah.
Oh, that one was the moment where I was like, "Oh my god!"
She's a I mean,
that's always really cool.
You look at Bridesmaids, which is pretty much one of the best comedies ever made. Period. Her range in that. I mean, the stuff that's really sad. There's some stuff.
The emotion, like her desperation and like bottom, just you believe she's at rock bottom. You really do.
100%. I think she's absolutely marvelous, and I love MacGruber. It's on Peacock. You should watch for MacGruber. But I loved it before I got that.
Right. Yeah.
I was raving about that when the movie came out, when people were like, I'm not going to see that shit. No one did. No one saw the movie. So, like,
Best quote from that movie is from her, too, in my opinion, where she's like, stick it where the sun don't shine. And he goes, where would that be? She's like, your butt.
Your butt.
There's a in the series, in the new series, there's a line of oh gosh, I'm gonna mangle it, but it's make sure you don't just stick your penis in her vagina. Stick your penis in her heart. So please watch MacGruber on Peacock. Please, just it's brutal too. It's like,
is it really?
Super violent, yeah.
Oh my god! Now I gotta watch it.
It works. Yeah. It works.
It works. And if you want to see Will Forte's ass a lot, I mean, there's nothing better.
I can go either way on that. That's just the salt and vinegar on the sandwich.
It's a fairly hairy ass, but you know what? It's the way
it's well put together.
The fact that he does this created this character and just completely inhabits him with no reservations. Like literally the first 3 episodes, I think he's naked. Like for the majority of the episodes or something. Maybe it's the first 2, but you're just like, it's such a funny and I'm telling you, the song.
Do they bring back the celery?
I know celery, but trust me, there's plenty more. There's
Okay.
I did ask. I mentioned
He's
the
like
celery.
cooking. You will not be disappointed.
You
It's
will not be
okay
disappointed.
without the celery.
Yeah, there's plenty of other stuff. There's
Okay.
there's another. Trust me when I say there's stuff going up the ass.
Nice.
I think
that
so. That and Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
If you say anything about buttholes or full-on wieners and nut sacks are in the movie, I'm automatically like, this is going to be a funny movie. I'm ready. All you have to say is if you like seeing Blank's ass a lot and it's not, yeah, I get what you're saying. That's how you know. Yeah.
I like that fearlessness. I like when comedy, like I always think of Walk Hard, which is one of the most underrated comedies
Great
ever.
movie.
Yes.
There's a whole scene of a dude talking to him. We're completely naked. It's just this guy's penis hanging by his face, and you're just like, that's kind of hilarious. He's having a serious conversation with
What
this guy.
was it The Interns, the one with Vince Vaughn and
Yeah.
Is it Owen Wilson?
Is
No.
that
Franco.
the one where they work at Google, or it's
Yeah.
supposed to be
and,
that?
and
That was
it's him and Franco and whatever, and they go to
hysterical.
that bar with the
I've only seen it once, so I don't remember, but I know I
I
loved
saw
it.
once. And I wasn't a fan, to be honest. I think I saw on
No.
Comedy Central too, so they wouldn't have shown
It's not
that.
a good movie, but that moment was one of those that I'm like,
I thought it was
that
funny.
funny. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dicks and balls are funny, man. I don't care. They're weird looking and they're funny. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what context.
Nope.
It's like a fart.
Yeah. Yes.
I just saw a funny context of Dick and Balls in The Spy Who Dumped Me last night.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
yeah. Did you like it? The movie?
There were moments. It was
Forced.
It's hard to describe.
Forced.
It was so
Forced.
intense. So like on nonstop, like oh my god, like there's almost like no time to breathe.
Yeah.
I think they could have done it better.
Yeah, it was. You have you have that kind of talent. There's some legit talent in there, but it just doesn't. It happens a lot. I mean, sometimes the script, it just doesn't.
Is that the one with Kate McKinnon?
Yeah,
and
Mila
Kunis,
Yeah.
Both of whom I love, I adore. I mean, they're both.
I adore both of them. That's why I
talented.
thought check it out. Yeah.
They deserved a little bit better of a movie, but like, who was the guy in that? There was a
Justin Theroux.
Yeah, Justin Theroux.
And then the dude from Outlander. I never remember his name.
Sam something.
Sam
yes.
Claflin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've interviewed I did the junket for Outlander one season, and it was
Shut your face.
I did.
I'm a fan of that show.
I will say I interviewed those
women everywhere are a fan of that show.
And they are two of the most beautiful people I've ever stood next to in my life. I'm like, I'm in love with both of you. Oh,
there's actual glitter happening in the air.
They're like, and they're so tall and they're effervescent. You're like,
Lindsay, who was it I was saying that about to you recently? Like, it's unfair that this man is such a gorgeous, like, existing human.
Oh,
Pauly Shore?
I don't know.
He was a close second.
Yes.
I'm talking like post Encino Man, pre in the army.
You've said that to me about a couple actors before. So
no, there was one. The dude that's the one that's in Stranger Things, like second Docker or whatever.
Oh,
he was in the Power Rangers remake.
Oh,
Daker, Docker, or whatever.
Daker, I think.
Yeah, that dude just.
Yes.
Yeah, he shouldn't. He's too gorgeous for existence. He doesn't need. I don't enjoy Stranger Things because I feel subhuman.
Okay.
Because I'm like, there he is. There's the God Man. Okay.
I've interviewed him.
Is he a nice guy?
He's very nice. I liked him a lot.
Perfect. Yeah, that just adds to it. Yeah, thanks.
He's like great. He's a good person.
Now he's fucking gorgeous and he's a cool dude. Like,
That's
me,
how I
right?
feel about one of the guys that I've interviewed. One of my favorite people to interview, and he's a really nice guy. Is Dylan O'Brien. I mean, just
Dylan O'Brien.
I adore him.
he's
Dylan,
one of the
we're-
coolest people I've ever met, and he's really down to earth, really
Mhm.
funny. I've interviewed him a lot.
He's hilarious.
and he's really a sweet guy. He's so fucking.
Oh, is that the Maze Runner guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's ridiculously talented, and if
Yeah.
you haven't seen, I mean, I've talked about this movie a lot. If you have never seen Love and Monsters, God,
Yes.
see it now.
Yes.
I
Now.
saw that a
Yes.
few months ago.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved
Isn't it
it.
Love and
great, Mike?
Monsters?
Oh
I
my
loved it.
gosh.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I saw that movie, and I saw, and I like Kong versus Godzilla a lot. I thought it was very well done. But like,
Mhm.
one of the problems with the Godzilla movies and the Kong movies is the characters. They're kind of uninteresting. They're kind of, and
Yeah.
there's always like, if you talk to people involved, it's kind of hard to make character-driven monster movies. Oh, really? Try Love and Monsters.
Yeah.
It's effortless. You give
Oh.
a shit about everyone involved, and Dylan O'Brien should have gotten a fucking Oscar for that movie. He should have gotten
That's one with
at least
Henwick?
nominated.
I
That
know
was-
that a lot of people, like, I know I came across a lot of things online where people were like, if you haven't seen this film, what is wrong with you? Go see it. Like, it's one of the most underrated things ever.
It was my second on my top 10. It was my second favorite film of the year. That year, it was
Awesome.
just beautiful,
What
and
was-
I
Yeah.
want to watch it again.
What was
Yeah,
the
I
first
was
one? Was
gonna
it
say, I did
1917
too.
or is that top 5?
I'm trying to think what year that was. I would say it was that Star is Born, or one of the.
Oh, that film. Oh my God. That was
That's a beautiful movie.
it is really beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of fell in love with Lady Gaga because of that movie. I wasn't a huge Lady Gaga fan before.
Yeah. I
But-
won't
I
watch
liked
it
her
because I know I'll
before,
cry.
but-
Like,
Oh, you'll bawl your eyes out.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
The respect for her. Like, I was a fan before, but after seeing that, it just gave us a whole different kind of perspective on her, and it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Done and
Yes.
done.
I knew it would happen.
That's a great song. Oh my! See, dude, you gotta give musicals a chance. We could have all started singing. It would have been.
I'm a
beautiful.
musician, dude. I love music and I love movies. That's the thing.
I'm gonna. You are gonna love Anna and the Apocalypse.
Have you
I
ever
went and saw
seen
Stomp.
Chicago?
You know, like Stomp is not. No, Chicago. I won't.
Yeah, I don't even want to see Chicago.
No, I will tell you this: I could get through Moulin Rouge one more time if I had to, because I think Baz Luhrmann is just fucking like beautiful movies
I love
to watch.
Moulin Rouge too.
They're just beautiful
But
movies
I guess
to
those
watch.
are more stereotypical.
Because he did
films.
the Romeo and Juliet.
I loved Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge, like both of those are just beautifully shot.
Yeah,
And I think
What
that's
about
why I can
Greatest-
get through Moulin Rouge.
and they're
The
such a
Greatest
trip.
Showman.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I love The Greatest
Nope.
Showman.
I loved it.
I
Yes.
haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, God.
It got a lot of kind of controversy because the real life story isn't
He was-
so bright and happy.
Because he's a
Yeah,
piece of
exactly,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my thing was, it's a musical. I know this isn't a documentary on his life. I know this
Yeah.
is
Right,
fiction.
exactly.
I mean, technically, they maybe could have created just a fictional character and done the
Yeah.
same thing.
That's
But-
insane.
There's also a point where I don't know. It's a tricky balance. Like, okay, I'm morally opposed to what this guy did in real life in this movie or whatever, but do I enjoy the movie? And Greatest Showman was a very clear cut of that because a lot of people didn't like it because of that, because it was,
Right.
same thing happened with Saving Mr. Banks. A lot of people were like, this was not a good situation. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
like the movie.
Yeah.
But I think we need to realize that movies, when they say they're based on a real true story,
Base.
Loosely based.
loosely based.
Very loosely based.
In
Yeah.
general,
Best
Texas
example
Chainsaw
is
Massacre has
JFK.
Not much to do with Ed Gein. Not much.
Yes. Yep.
JFK.
Yeah, JFK. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was the
But-
first time I remember that being a factor. Like, this is not history.
Yeah.
Don't.
That's
Yeah. And a lot of people, you're right. They need to know what they're signed up for. It's like
Yeah.
it's a musical. like you said, it's not a documentary. Like if that's what you want, you're in the wrong place.
But Cookie is going to watch Anna and the Apocalypse. That's
yes,
all
he is.
Yep, I will follow up, and I'm gonna give it a chance.
Okay. You're gonna have to let me know right after.
I will. I'll shoot you a message.
Thank you, Jimmy, for coming on.
Yes, thank
we
you.
had a great time. We'd love to have you back. And definitely love to bring in Brian too and discuss a little bit more on music and movies. But we had an awesome time. We absolutely love you.
Yes, who are you?
100%.
Anytime I look
for the nicest dudes, hands down.
Anytime I look for a movie's coming out, what does Jimmy think? I always look to your tweets. I always look to your recommendations, and 10 out of 10, they've all been correct.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
So absolutely love you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you all at home for watching.
We love you.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you guys. I can't wait to come back.